Out in Michigan, another stadium was beckoning thousands under its domed expanses to witness the Detroit Lions christen their new field with victory. Unpretentiously titled Pontiac Stadium, the Lions' new domain is billed as the world's largest indoor football arena. The stadium features a flexible dome, and it's quite apparent upon entering the building that powerful air blowers are employed to keep the ceiling inflated.
In 1965, the stadium was first conceived in a classroom by Professor C. Don Davidson. 4 years later, Pontiac City officials proposed the idea to build two stadiums side by side. One of them would be for football, and the other would be for baseball. The stadium was set to be built at I-75 and M-59 near the city. Detroit Lions owner William Clay Ford fully commits to moving the Lions from Tiger Stadium to the all-new Silverdome, which is soon to be built 4 years later. Construction on the stadium finally begins in 1973. A whopping $55.7 million was spent to create the entire stadium itself. It was said to contain an inflatable roof coated with Teflon, which is pretty cool. August 23, 1975, the Pontiac Metropolitan Stadium makes its grand debut. The first event shown was a football game between the Detroit Lions and Kansas City Chiefs. The stadium would end up getting a name change to the more famous Pontiac Silverdome in 1976, but that was just the beginning of the grand life that Silverdome had. Well, now to the more interesting stuff. The first rock concert was held on December 6, 1975. With an attendance of 75,962 fans, The Who played a set of their famous songs at the time and truly rocked the stadium. Throughout the years, many artists played at the stadium, from Elvis Presley all the way to the emo bands like Avenged Sevenfold and The Offspring. Many years of music endured in the Silverdome. Some may even say they only went to the Silverdome for both the football games and the music events. Now, back to the sports stuff. October of 1978 would be the first game the Detroit Pistons played in the Silverdome. Up most importantly, January 24th, 1981 was Super Bowl XVII. Super Bowl XVII was held at the Silverdome. It was the Cincinnati Bengals versus the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers ended up taking home the champion, winning 26-21. Tragedy struck in 1985. Due to heavy amounts of snow on the roof collapses. A Piston game was immediately canceled and the stadium was left for repairs. Luckily, the entire roof was repaired and improved upon, and so the stadium was back into business. Nearly 2 years after the collapse, March 29th, 1987 brought in WWF's Wrestlemania III. Wrestlemania III broke the record for largest recorded attendance for a live indoor sporting event in the United States.
A brand new indoor attendance record of 93,173. Give yourself a big hand.
Many years later, in 1994, the World Cup was actually hosted at the Silverdome, both the playoff games. This made it the first indoor World Cup game to be hosted. Sad news unfortunately struck the Silverdome. The Detroit Lions had announced that they are leaving the Silverdome and moving to the nearby Ford Field, all the way in Detroit. Their final game at the Dome was on January 6, 2002. The awesome thing is that they actually won the game against the Dallas Cowboys, 15-10, pretty close game. I do have to say that that was a pretty great send-off game to the Silverdome. After the Lions have left, the city of Pontiac really just wanted to get rid of the whole huge stadium. It was taking up way too much space, and not that many famous or popular events have been going on in recent years. After many years of financial problems and insanely huge costs for the stadium's maintenance, the stadium was just left there. Until, in 2009, the city of Pontiac placed the Silverdome under financial control. This was an issue. It ended up leading to the bad choice of putting it on auction with no minimum bid whatsoever. So, at that point, it was a steal. A Canadian real estate developer wins the auction, only paying $583,000. They could have sold it for more, even about $2 million for a potential profit in the auction itself. So with the stadium purchased by the Triple Investment Group, they fixed up the stadium and allowed it to reopen for further events. In 2010, a monster truck show called Domination in the Dome was held. This would mark the end of an era for Pontiac and make it the last time the Silverdome would ever be put to use. After that, they basically just sold everything contained in the Silverdome to liquidate and get as much money as possible before the entire thing was demolished. But before that, the owners attempted to give the entire stadium a facelift. What was supposed to be planned is a 2-floor series of venues. The top floor would contain a soccer field with a total of 30,000 seats, while the 2 bottom sections would be a small hockey arena and a concert stage. But ultimately, it all fell through, and the plans didn't go any further. So, no hope was left for the Silverdome, and that led to the liquidation of everything. After the Silverdome was abandoned, the owners were sued by the city of Pontiac. They were being sued for violations of building, safety, and zoning codes. As a mutual agreement, it was decided to demolish the structure and make way for a future redevelopment site. In spring of 2016, this eventually became this. What a sad sight.
After 8 o'clock, our Coco McAvoy has been live there all morning as crowds gathering to watch this historic moment.
A controlled demolition, of course, of a place that holds so many memories. Also sad, however, how it was just left to kind of in disrepair year after year. Here we go.
The Silverdome failed to detonate the first time, so when they tried it again, it went crumbling down in pieces. Okay.